Testing 1, 2. Hello. Is anyone there? It's the first time I'm trying to live stream on this microscope stuff. And OBS is a little bit weird, so hopefully this is going through okay. Get unmuted here for a second. Okay, it looks like it's working. Hope the sound is okay. I'm getting kind of a feedback on this thing, but basically, if you're tuning in late and not watching the replay, or if you're just joining and I can't see the chat for a second here, this is a very hot day today, so there was no water in the flower pots outside. So I just watered a plant, and all these little critters washed out through the dried up, or at least partly dried up, soil of the plant, and I collected this water in the catch tray. So we have a little ciliate, it looks like here, cruising around, looking at the debris. Luckily, he likes this little piece of debris. I cannot call it he. It's not. It's not a gender at this point, but the one problem with this OBS stream is it's also cropping the image. So unfortunately, I'm on kind of a low power here. Yet it is only giving you a magnified view, which is cool for the specimen, but also hard to chase this guy down. This is like the hardest video game in the world if you want to chase these guys. So I'm trying to keep him in the center as best as I can and focus at the same time. Luckily, he's very interested in that debris. I'll just keep calling him he, but you know what I mean. He's just a single-celled critter. Let's see. I'm trying to look off-field a little bit to see if there's anything else to look at, but for now we'll just stay on this guy. If you didn't see the note I posted, I'm using my synthetic channel because there was a problem posting to the MicroAddict channel for some reason. So, excuse me, wanted to get this done today as a test. I decided just to test with this channel. So, if any of you haven't seen the MicroAddict stuff, this is a good way for you, if you've been on this channel, to go check out the MicroAddict channel. I just couldn't live stream to it today for some reason. Hey, Steven, how's it going? Does this sound okay? Are you getting like a slap back on the audio? But yeah, as I was saying, luckily this little guy likes this debris, so he's staying pretty much in field with me having to chase him around too much. Cool, thanks for the sound check. I'm getting like a slap back on my end, but at least I can hear that I'm talking. So yeah, this is an unidentified little ciliate. Again, this, if you missed the beginning, this was in it's a flower pot outside that, the water was so hot today, the water evaporated from the flower pot tray. So I watered the plant, and several things came flooding. Oh, there goes a rotifer. That was cool. He's a little faster. The problem is this OBS is cropping the image for some reason. I'm not sure why. This is only supposed to be about, what is this set for right now? About 40 power. So this is a pretty big ciliate to look this big on this magnification, but it's not this big in the scope. It's just being magnified by the crop of OBS. So something I need to figure out. But anyway, it's a nice view of this guy. And I had another slide I left sit out for too long, and it had some nematodes in it and the rotifers and some other goodies. So you'll never know what you find in your little flower pots. I'll come back to this guy. Let me go see if I can find that rotifer and do a quick chase. So I hope this doesn't make anyone seasick here. But I'm trying to do a search for that rotifer guy. Oh, there's another one of these little ciliates. Cruising around by the edge of the margin of the cover slip. And I'm not sure what kind this one is. I'd have to identify this. Actually, pretty sure the first time I've seen this particular species of ciliate. The reason you can tell it's a ciliate is it doesn't have that wobbly move when it moves around. It's pretty smooth, and it's very good at changing directions very quickly. Ciliates, just like when you see like a sperm cell that has a little flagellum, they have this kind of whippy motion, kind of wobbly, tumbling motion. Excuse me. I picked up something at that chic show on Sunday. A bunch of people were sick, I guess, so I got a flu from those guys in the crowd. Anyway, so this is a fun little guy to follow here. Again, this is like a crazy video game, having to focus and do X, Y at the same time, and it's magnified, which makes it harder. Okay. Let me go find that rotifer that went cruising by. It was pretty interesting. Those are really fun. Let's see. Slide is pretty dead, except for those little critters. Nothing on the periphery. Let's go further up here. They can travel beyond the boundary of the cover slip, but usually they don't, because there's only a little bit of water you can see on the edge of the cover slip there. So I try not to put too much water. You're really supposed to put about a drop, which is plenty of room for them to maneuver, but not enough for them to cover the whole slide, which is a nightmare to trace them down. Let's see. God, where'd that rotifer go? Just went flying through and just took off. And I don't see him in the margins. Oh, wait. There he is, in the margins. So you can see him kind of contracting a little bit. Let me find. Can I get it to? There we go. He's stretching out a little bit. Rotifers are cool little individuals. They have about 1,000 cells. The previous thing you saw was one big cell. Yet it's about the same size as this guy is, which is the weird thing about some of these microorganisms. This guy's got about 1,000 cells, and you can tell that the species by how many cells they have and other markings and these little mouth parts they have, called the corona, this little crown area. And sometimes you'll see them just kind of stretching out like this. I can't quite tell if it's eating, but it's I could go closer since it's not moving. Let me see if I can push it a little bit more. if I can go a little bit closer. You can get some nice detail. So some of these have, yeah, you can see it's like a it's like a telescope there. It's expanding out. They often have a little foot that they attach. I'm not sure if all the species have this, but they have a little foot they can attach to give them leverage, kind of an adhering foot. And then when the ones that have the really big kind of vibrating mouth parts, like a Norelco rotifer blades, they create a vortex and suck in the food, and anything too big won't actually go into the body. It gets rejected by size. But you'll see them having a stream of particles coming at them because their suction is so strong. And you can see it's called the mastics, and they're moving around. It's like little jaws inside, chewing up the stuff. Really fun. I love rotifers. I have some really good footage I got just a while ago. I need to edit. Just beautiful shots of the two lobes of the mouth parts swirling around and creating a vortex, and it's an incredible little animal. So let's get a little zoom in. Could probably even push this a little further since it's not moving. It's also contracted a lot, which is usually when I found them like this, they're not doing so well. Either it might be too much heat for them on the slide, or it might be other environmental factors that are making it not comfortable. So, but the one benefit is I can push a little bit further. Let's go crazy here with the magnification and see what we can see. Let's get to that mastax here in the middle. Now it's kind of bunched up, so you can see there's a lot more to focus through. It's a lot thicker. And of course, when you increase the objective power, the depth of field is much thinner. There you go. There's some internal action on the rotifer. Yeah, sorry about that. So this would be the mouth parts here. Just kind of chilling out, not doing anything right now. Maybe it's already digesting and chomping up some stuff it already ate. Sorry, the audio on this is kind of boring. I'm going to put some background music in future ones. It's just the first test. So it's probably boring just sitting here watching all this stuff, but I'll put a little extra something in there to make it more interesting. Yeah, just a lot of stuff to focus through. They're pretty thick little critters. And it's slowly drifting. I'm not sure if that's the gradient from the slide drying up and the water pulling in, or if it's just moving itself. Ah, damn it, wrong knob. Do you have any questions, Stephen? Since you're the only person watching. Yeah, background music for sure. That was the goal on my channel in general. If you saw the other MicroAddict videos, some kind of weird or ambient ambient music to go in the background. Some people just want to trip out and just enjoy the sound and look at it, but I also put some text in there for people. I didn't want to have some of those be all talking because I don't want to really sit and practice a speech. And also for international audiences, they're going to read English better than they're going to understand the spoken English. So it's just easier to have titles. Let me jump back out. I'm having to focus too much here. It's a little harder too because it's on the edge. What you on the moon you'd call the Terminator. This is like the Terminator of the cover slip here. So something's up with this guy. I don't know if he's starting to expire or going for a rest. It was really active earlier, yeah, as you saw when it zipped through the frame. Let me go back to see if we can find any other guys on here, and if not, I'll make another slide because there are tons of nematodes on one of the slides. They're really fun to watch. Wiggle around. Just random debris here. Debris is kind of like a little forest for some of these things, so it's nice to search debris for little things. Sometimes they're in there either eating or hiding or whatever. Okay, let me make another slide real quick here. Bunch of this water. The trick is keeping, when you find a really good slide, it's hard to keep it for too long because it starts to evaporate. So you can make these humidifying chambers for them. So you can make them last a little bit longer. But let's see what's on this guy. Nothing yet. Oh, now that is a flagellate. You can see by the movement. It's doing this tumbling action. Some of these have paired flagella, some have single flagella. And so they do this kind of tumbling movement. It's not smooth and really fast like they can spin like the ciliates do, like right there. But they often have this tumbling motion. Like when you spin the oar of the back of a boat. Kind of boat kind of goes different directions. Moving a little quick here. There's a little tiny flagellate in the background there. Really tiny. Let's go follow this guy some more. I lost him. Hold on. Let me go back to my long view. This damn OBS is zoomed in. So when they tumble like this, and I have it in some of my paramecium videos, you can really see they're ciliates, but they also tumble a lot as well. And you can get the cool 3D shape that they have. So it's got kind of a compressed, tapered body with kind of fatter parts and thinner parts. Pretty cool. When you look carefully, you can see it's hard to focus on the body and the flagellum at the same time. But you can see the thing whipping around sometimes in the shot. Damn Actually, now that it's calmed down, it's actually looking more like a ciliate. Just early behavior looked more like a flagellate, but this is definitely a ciliate based on the little projections there flipping around all over. It was just kind of swimming erratically, gave it the impression of being a flagellate. But yeah, you can see it has those little hair-like projections all over on the, especially on the tips. You can focus out through it, you can see them better. It's kind of a paramecium shape, but it's a little odd compared to a lot of ones I've seen. This would be a good one to zoom in on. Hey, Catherine, how's it going? Yeah, this is supposed to go on my MicroAddict channel, but it wasn't working today, so I'm doing this from my synthetic channel. So, as I was saying before, I'm going to put music in the background if I do more live streams because this is boring watching me talk and move stuff around. Let me get a closer view of that guy. Oh yeah, that's a much better view. This might actually be like a Stylonchia. This one called Stylonchia has these really cool. They confuse the cilia into bristly things called cirri, and on some of them you can actually walk with them, almost like a bug, even though they're a single cell. And you see them walking on debris, which is a trip. Yeah, this is a really good view of this guy. Just imagine a bug with, hundreds of legs. And this one's pretty good size too. This is probably about, I don't have my scale loaded in here, but I'm guessing this one's probably about maybe 70, 80 microns in length, micrometers. Your average body cell is around, it depends if it's a cheek cell or a skin cell or whatever, but it's usually around, I think it's around 40 micron, 30, 40 micron. So it's a pretty big cell here. Yeah, this is a fun one. Really, just like with a little trick you have with astronomy, where you focus through the object to see the colors and also some of the outer structures on some things. You focus through these guys a lot because there's a lot of thickness and a lot of details, and you can see the cirri that basically smashed together cilia to make these like thicker leg-looking things. And there's a whole bunch of books and videos out on these kind of critters with the cirri and how to classify them and stuff because there are a bunch of different lineages that have this cirri behavior where the cilia come together to form these thicker structures. But taxonomy is a whole other ball of wax. Thanks for stopping in, Catherine. I'll have music in the next one I do this, so it's not so boring. And again, this just came from water out of a flower pot. Flower pots outside. So hot today, the water evaporated. So I gave it a quick watering, and everything that flushed through and collected at the bottom of the tray is in this slide. So I've got this guy so far. Another ciliate that was kind of fun. Some nematodes, rotifer. Yeah, this one's pretty dramatic. A lot of stuff going on. Might be able to get a little more color here. Let's see. Problem is, adding more color, you lose some of the contrast. So if you got to defocus this way, you can see the overall structure. Interesting shape. Let's get a little more less light on there so we get some details popping on there. And this scope does other stuff too. I can do phase contrast and dark field, and if you watch my other videos, you'll see some of that stuff. Oblique lighting, that makes it good of a 3D look. Really cool. Yeah, gotta look this guy up. Might be something like a Stylonkia or a couple of the ones that I'm forgetting the name of right now, but I've seen them when I used to work at a local nature center doing programs like this for the public, kids and families and stuff, school groups. And I'd find really cool stuff out at the salt marsh. Unfortunately, the camera back then was not so good, so I got footage, but it's like a picture of a picture, so it's not very good footage. But yeah, this guy's looking really interesting. He's got some debris. He's nibbling on some debris here or something. So some of these critters, they have like a gullet, like a paramecium will have this kind of a groove, and that's kind of a pseudo mouth opening, and then when the particles come in that they're favorable, they'll make these little vesicles, just like your cells do inside your body, making vesicles, packaging materials, like little factories sending things from place to place. And so they'll make these little vesicles. I think what's called a food vacuole. And you can see in paramecium, they'll have all these little spheres inside with things in them that are to be digested. They put like, they can use various enzymes to break them down. They can also have vacuoles that use for attacking and for dissolving things. These things called lysosomes. Well, there's actually an illness in humans where you can actually, a friend of a friend knew somebody once who was unfortunately dying of this illness where your lysosomes start breaking in your cells and your cells just start committing suicide on a mass scale. Very, very sad. I forgot the name of the illness, but cells are pretty intricate and interesting, but they can also just be crazy and deadly even to yourself. But anyway, the food vacuoles are fun. You can see them moving around and kind of becoming part of the rest of the organelles of the cell when you focus through some of these guys. There's one video I haven't finished editing yet. Has this massive ciliate with a giant diatom inside of it, where it's just the silicon dioxide shell. It's a single cell plant that swims around, but it has a you guys they use their products in toothpaste. If you have a swimming pool, that powder called diatomaceous earth is used as a filtering agent. It's millions and millions and millions of little shells of diatoms. But this thing had swallowed a whole diatom. It was kind of poking it from the inside. It's pretty funny. And this guy's doing something weird here. I don't know if he's exuding that stuff or if he's actually, he ran into that structure. It's very odd. Well, let's go quickly look at some other things because that was wild, but there's probably, that was the first thing on here. Probably plenty of wild stuff on this slide. Let's see. Oh, nematodes. Here we go. Wiggly worms. Luckily, they don't go too far. They just kind of wiggle in place. So you can see they're transparent. They're clearly, they have a clear head and a clear tail. These, of course, are also multicellular. I forgot how many cells these guys have, but quite a few. Not maybe more than a rotifer, which has about 1,000. The last two things you saw were single-celled. And these guys can be living in soil, just hanging out. They can be also bad for your health. Certain kinds of things can make you really sick. These kind of free living ones like this in the soil are just, like anything else. If you drank and ate them, and even a decent quantity, you probably wouldn't get sick from them. But there's some pretty amazing ones out there. This cuticle they have is really, really durable. And some of them can live in vinegar. They call them vinegar eels. And there's some relatives, those nematodes, these ascaris worms, some other kinds of stuff that are really, really durable, can live in pretty rough conditions. But yeah, he's wigging out. One of the problems with the microscope is it's incredibly bright light in order for this to be visualized through all the optics. Also, the light is generating heat. So it's not only causing evaporation of the slide, but also making the animals kind of freak out sometimes because it gets pretty warm. So I try to move the slide around after a while, not to freak them out. And then this one finally stopped moving, which is interesting. So you can see the head is to the top, the thicker part, and the tail's a little pointy bit at the bottom. And not so much in this one, but some of these you can clearly see the digestive tract, and probably the, let's get a little closer to this guy. There you go. One more structure. Helps to defocus them a little bit so you get a little bit thicker lines on stuff. So there's the head. Doing some chemo sensing, figuring out what's going on around it. And then go back to the little pointy whip-like tail. Very fine tail on this one. That's not doing a whole lot. Let's do one quick shot of the head. If I can get zoomed in here. This is when you take advantage when they stop moving. Definitely want to get the looks you can get. There's the what amounts to the head region. Let's get more light in there. You need to constantly defocus to get some details on this thing. That's the wiggly worm. Okay, so nematode, that's cool. Now let's go for a couple more things. More nematodes. There's one going crazy down here. Sometimes it really just going nuts. Hey, Dave, thanks for showing up. It's kind of an impromptu last minute test. I've been wanting to do this for a while, and for some reason my MicroAddict channel wouldn't let me stream today, so I decided to do it here. And also a good way for me to plug the MicroAddict channel. People haven't seen it yet. Gonna do more of these and on the other channel and actually have music in the background. There's a nice sine wave for synth people there. But just, yeah, to make it a little more exciting, have some music in the background while I'm searching around stuff. Because it's, I would imagine it would be quite taxing to listen to me drone on and on with no background music. So this is a little nematode. Uh, I was telling the other people that it's a hot day, so I was going to collect some water and some plant trays outside, but everything evaporated. So I quickly watered a plant, let the debris go through the soil and collect in the water at the bottom. And this is all the goodies I found in the right out of a plant. Didn't even have to go to a pond or anything special. And actually, some of the best things I've ever found were actually in this. The way I keep doing this, the plant trays. I found some stuff I've never been able to identify. You know, I was like, okay, it's a ciliate or it's a flagellate or it's a whatever, but it's often quite hard to get even to like a family if you know about taxonomy and all that. Just you know, like humans are hominidae, and then we have the genus Homo and the species Sapiens, and so it's really easy to get birds into families and stuff. Um, like the step above family is order, and so like ducks and geese is Anseriformes, and then there's a group like I think it's Anseridae, and there's a couple different other common families of waterfowl, and then from there you can go down to like one family's Anatidae, and then Anas, ANAS is a common genus of duck. Um, so very hard to get these guys. I mean, obviously Paramecium is a genus, and they're so well known and so obvious when you see them that they're easy to identify, at least the genus. And the most common one is Paramecium caudatum. So most people just say, "Oh, it's Paramecium caudatum," even though it may not be because there are different species of them. Same thing with amoeba. The most common amoeba you'd find is an amoeba proteus, but it might not be one. But they're very, very, very common. But there are also other kinds of amoeba that actually have a shell and have weird these little pseudopods that come out on these little spikes of the shell, and it's a whole crazy world. So that's a nematode. This one's moving too fast to zoom in anymore. I zoom, if you go back in the stream, I zoomed in on one of them that was just kind of chilling out. Not a whole lot of detail to see, but it's kind of fun to zoom in on their little head and see what's going on. So let me jump to another area. So this is now I think the third nematode I found. There's a nematode with some debris. It's like he's fighting with some debris. That's crazy. Never seen him do that before. It's hard to tell if it's stuck or if it's just trying to feed. That's pretty funny. It's like a dog playing with a chew toy. Okay, that's enough nematodes. Let's go to what else we got here? Another fun thing about this, I don't know if you guys have seen this before, but the different lighting effects you get with the polarizing and crystal growth as the things dry up, and these weird colors and shapes you get is this whole segment called bio art. People are doing. I actually have some footage I need to make into a little bio art piece of just stuff that you just find like this, like debris, crystals forming, things drying up, color changes, different light angles. It's pretty interesting stuff, actually. It's just really abstract, um, nonsensical graphics made by accident on the slide. There's another little. I've seen one of these before. This is definitely. He's moving like a flagellate. Let's zoom in here. Get this angle just right. So from the motion and the shape, excuse me, I have to cough real quick. This damn flu I caught at the concert. Okay. So this movement I was talking about earlier, they generally kind of go in this wobbling motion, or they'll spin in circles sometimes. Sometimes pretty smooth. This one's pretty smooth. But when it starts moving, you see it do this kind of tumbling motion because the rotation of the flagellum makes the body spiral, kind of like a spiral football when you throw it. And this one's perfect too because it's almost football shaped. And I don't know what species this is or even what family this would be. This is one of those ones that could take a while to figure out. There's really not a lot of good books on this stuff unless they're really, really obvious species. And I've gone to other jobs I've had doing some of this stuff. I've gone to labs and even U.S. Geological Survey and the big famous open house they have and asked those guys what some stuff is, and sometimes they were baffled. So it's a huge subject, and sometimes experts, they might be able to pin it down to like an order or maybe a family. Sometimes just class. Um, and if you don't know the taxonomy in general, it's um, they've added some stuff since I studied this stuff a lot. But in general, it's kingdom, phylum, order, class, family. Sorry, kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, species. And so it's really easy to get some animals to order or class. Like class Mammalia, we're all mammals. So class Mammalia, the order, we're, people don't like to hear this, but we're classified as primates. So we're the order primates or primates. And then you just go from there. So it's quite easy to get a lot of animals to a certain level. Tardigrades, which I've done some video on, they actually have their own phylum. They're so special, they just way at the top. They're animals, but they are tardigrades. They're like I think about 1,000 species of them or so, and yeah, they have their own damn phylum. It's pretty interesting. And some of these things keep getting reclassified over the years in different groups, and um, all these different types of worms and other kinds of things that there was platyhelminthes are the flatworms, the famous little cartoon-eyed ones you've seen that people cut up in lab and they regrow body parts and stuff. Um, and then there's Aschelminthes, which is they also nicknamed the ash can worms because people just threw all the worms they didn't know what to do with in that group. I was like, well, we'll just put them together because they're too complicated. We can't quite figure it out, so we'll call them the Aschelminthes. Um, and uh, and again, a lot of stuff has changed over the years, so I'm a little behind on some of the taxonomy because my stuff was studied so long ago. But the general gist of it hasn't changed that much. But now they have like super orders are common, and subphylums are used a lot for certain animals and plants and all that kind of stuff. So it's pretty interesting. We love to compartmentalize things and break things into little boxes. And in taxonomy, there's two main classes: there's the lumpers and the splitters. Do you want to put all these birds into one group, or do you want to say, oh, now their DNA says this, so now we really got to split them off into all these different groups versus morphology, which is what you can see with the binoculars and measurements and stuff. So this guy's not doing a whole lot. Let me zoom in real quick because that will give some detail since it's pretty damn slow. Might be interesting. See what's going on here. Center it here. Wait a minute, where'd he go? Oh, he's over here. And OBS is cropping my video here, so it makes it even harder to center this stuff. I have to keep going back between the scope and the screen. So this is a nice one. You can see as it tumbles, you get the 3D structure, and I'll zoom, focus through it. You can see the shapes. And this one, this might, I don't see the red eye spot, but this might even be, it looks pretty rigid. There's a group of flagellates called euglena. And they kind of do this weird thing where they straddle animal and plant territories, where they have chloroplast, so chlorophyll inside, but they also can eat. And there's some that just eat that don't even have that, and they have a red eye spot so they can follow the light, because as you're looking for sunlight, you want to know where the light is. So they need some kind of an eye spot to know where to swim. And so this one has quite a bit of green in it, but it's hard to tell sometimes if it's something it ate or something it actually is using for food. But I would say, judging by the amount, this might be a single cell flagellate plant. But not quite sure if it's euglena. I don't see the red eye spot, but it does meet some of the criteria. See a little flagella moving there. We can pop a little color here. Lose detail, but get a little more color out of it. Again, this is one of the hardest video games, is to simultaneously focus and do an X and Y stage control while the thing is moving, especially when it's a fast one. There's a clever trick you can do. For insects and stuff under the microscope, you want to slow them down so you can watch them. You can kind of put them in the fridge for a few minutes, and it slows their body down a little bit without hurting them. But these guys, you can't do a whole lot, but you can make the medium thicker, because for them, water is actually pretty thick already. They're actually putting a lot of effort out to go through the water. But if you put the same stuff they use for slime in movies like Alien, all the special effects guys use, is called carboxymethylcellulose, or just methylcellulose. It's this powder you can mix up, and it makes this clear slime. And then you can dilute it for different thicknesses. Put a little drop of that on the slide, and it's like they're swimming through muck, and really slows them down so you can see the details. And it doesn't mess up your image, so you still get a clear picture through this methylcellulose. And it doesn't hurt the creature. That's a nice little shot there. Hey Steve, how's it going? Yeah, as I was telling everybody else, my MicroAddict channel wouldn't let me stream today, so I said, well, I'll just do it from this channel. And going forward, I'll do more of these with music and a little more of a plan. This is just an ad hoc impromptu session based on some water I collected out of a flower pot today. And it's amazing what you can find in a flower pot. All the stuff you'd expect to find in a pond or salt marsh or something like that. You can find quite a bit of stuff in a silly little flower pot. It makes a nice screensaver just kind of drifting through. And I wish I could zoom out more. As I was telling other people that OBS for some reason cropped my image. So this is way more magnified than it should be at this objective lens. Makes me move it a whole lot more. Hey, Magic Box, how's it going? Thanks for showing up. Let him drift out of frame there, make a nice little shot. So yeah, it's a couple unknowns today. This might be Euglena, but I don't think so. They're usually not this stiff. They're pretty flexible and very characteristic eye spot. And the flagellum's also usually much more distinct. Sometimes can be longer than the body is. But yeah, it's nice. Let's get a little more contrast here. This is a fun, I can try this too. We'll see real quick if this works. Oblique lighting gives it this really cool 3D look, but it doesn't always work the way you want it to. You have to play with this stuff a lot. Let's see if this works. Not doing it. There we go. There's some oblique lighting and a little bit of dark field too. Let's do the oblique lighting first. Makes it pop, gives it that 3D look. So now stuff in the cell kind of looks like it's sticking out. This is really, really nice. The really nice differential interference contrast microscopes that are like $6,000 or more from like Zeiss and other places do this incredibly well. But I'm doing more of a hack version with this setup, but you get the idea. Gives it a nice 3D look. And unfortunately, it's going to the edge of the cover slip, so it's going to add this shadow. Don't go there, come on. Man. Let's do a quick dark field. Makes it pop too. Yeah, it's being distorted by the damn cover slip. Would be a nice shot, but he's in the wrong spot. It's all physics. It's damn physics getting in the way. All right, we'll skip that one. Yeah, he's in the really bad part of the water gets kind of thick and ramped at that angle, so the light gets all freaky on the edge of the slide. So let me go look for some other guy here. Let's see, we got nematode stopped moving, so it's not too happy. There's that little guy again. Let's get a better shot for those who didn't see him earlier. A nice little ciliate. Also more of the color. Let me bring in more contrast a little bit. And you'll see them do these patterns sometimes where there's no obvious rhyme or reason what the hell it's doing going in circles like that, but it's very handy to get good shots of them because they'll just keep, you leave it stuck there and they just keep going in a circle, going in a circle, going in a circle. And you can see he's bumping into that little one next to him. He's like, hey, get the hell out of the way. This might be a good candidate for a little bit of oblique lighting. That's a dark field shot. Let's try that first. Now you can really see the guy he keeps bumping into. Let's go back to oblique, get that 3D pop. Now you can see all the particles have a shadow. This view also is cool. See all the organelles now. There are a bunch of vacuoles in there for various things, mostly most likely food vacuoles. All those little circles inside for food storage and digestion. And they have other structures too for various functions in the cell. Everyone's a little bit different. And if you go back to your high school biology textbook or whatever, you'll see this human cells have a similar shape and series of organelles inside of them. These guys often have more specialized ones, just depending on what they're doing and what lineage they have. So that red in the clump there, that's the kind of color red I was looking for on that other one. The Euglena has a red eye spot that's very much like that, just like you get in a, or it could be orangish sometimes, but you get like a copepod, these little crustaceans. They call them cyclops because they have a single eye spot, and they also have that same kind of red. It's very, very bright red color. It's interesting. So sometimes you'll find one that just does this. It's got a little pattern, sits there doing whatever it's doing. Occasionally bump into that one next to it. But it's just, yeah, it's very relaxing sometimes when you find a good specimen. You just kind of chill out and contemplate what the hell it's doing. Let's try dark field one more time to see if I can get a better view of it. There we go. A little more transparent. Now you see it kind of sparkling, all the cilia beating on the outside. Makes it look like it's kind of sparkling. Better focus on that. Okay, that was a nice little shot of that guy. Let's do some more variety here. More dead nematodes. I thought I'd try another fun thing here too. Some pieces of other things like the very flower pot I got the water from. Has some flowers in it still. I was going to take a piece. And all this is a compound microscope where light transmits through objects. You can use it as a dissecting scope or stereoscope, as they call it, if you put a light on top. So let's try this flower petal first. Just the way it is. It needs more light. Pretty dense. Sometimes you can see the different pigments in a closer view. Get a thinner section here. And you get the, yeah, so here's a little variation. So kind of bright pink and dark pink. These pigments called anthocyanins. Let's see if this will yield. There we go. It's individual pigment cells here. Not great. It's probably better if I put a slide on top of it to flatten it out, but I just was doing it quick and dirty just to show something different here. They actually are kind of geometric there. Looks like hexagons. That's pretty cool. Interesting. So that's that. And then I can also do, let's see if this works. I have a light I can put on top if it's bright enough. And I can use it as a, turn this light off. And use it as a, it might not be bright enough. If I can really get the light in there. The batteries are kind of low on this light. Yeah, it's pretty uninteresting. The light's not bright enough. So that didn't work, but I can do another piece here with another piece of the plant. This has some like little hairs on it and stuff. Oh, nice. So this plant is sticky, and now you can see why it's sticky. Little hairs with little sticky drops on the tips. I forgot to look up which plant this is. But that's a trip. There's some fungi that look like this. There's a little matchstick fungi called Pilobolus that have this shape, but it's a fungus and not a plant. Really cool. So we had some great album artwork, kind of like the Yes covers, which of course is clearly inspired by some of this stuff. Or the cover of Omni magazine. It's pretty fun. Let's see if I can change that a little bit. You get some transparency there. You can focus through the depth of field there. That's pretty cool. This is more of the bioart stuff I was talking about. It's not only botany, but you can also do some fun, either videos or pictures with this stuff. Go into Photoshop and have a good old time. Pretty cool. All right, let's try another piece of something I got here. Oh, actually, there's another part that might have other interest. What's this part? That's too thick. I think it's most of the same. Yeah. More fun shapes. More of the same stuff. Let's see what this looks like. This might be interesting. I'm not going to say what it is. Maybe somebody can guess. It's a bit thick, so it may have to have a lot of light shining through it. When you slice things for the microscope, you have to use this thing called a microtome. If it's not a hard object and crumbly, you can actually. Let's turn the light up a little bit. Open this up all the way and see what it is. Pretty hard to tell. It looks like the Martian surface from aerial shots of orbital shots of Mars. But it's actually an object. And to give you a hint, it's a food item. See if anybody can guess what this is. Some more bio art. But I have Martian shots that look just like this. It's pretty cool. So honey, not honey. It is a solid. Honey's kind of on the edge of solid, but this is a solid object. And you can probably see as I move around a little more detail. It's composed of things. It's pretty nondescript though. It is a cat face right there, kind of, or a wolf face. You look at it funny. Let's find a better angle here. Yeah, it's not really giving up what it is very easily. But you can tell that it's been cooked. It's baked. There's the kind of dark parts and light parts. Anyone else have a guess? That's a good guess, but it's a piece of a tortilla from a whole wheat burrito. So, and this is pretty well processed. You can't quite see any kernels in it. A little bit of the bean residue there. The color. So yeah, that's a fun one there. Let's make one more slide from that water. So it might be something else I missed. Ah, damn it, that's too much water. Okay, let's see what this is. Yeah, there we go. You got something right at the bat. Oh, kind of like that little Starlonkia thing I found before. With the bristles. Take advantage of the spinning and get a closer shot. Yeah, very interesting shape. See, it's kind of like twisted and flat on parts. Drifting just out of the shot. Nice 3D structure. And it would constantly focus because it's tumbling in and out of the vertical area. Oh, did a quick move there. Just a little oblique lighting on the sky. Now you get the 3D look. Sorry, there's foot traffic there. This stomping was basically making an earthquake for the microscope. This guy's doing some serious tumbling. Go back to normal so you can get some color. So again, this one has a lot of green, so it's most likely a photosynthetic single cell plant. But I don't think it's a euglena. It's just got a different look to it than what I've seen. Alrighty. Well, I don't want to run this too long. People start to fall asleep. So, hey, Paul, how's it going? Both Pauls in here. How's it going? Sorry, I wasn't looking at the chat as much as I should have. I'll be doing more of these. A little more of a plan. This is just ad hoc. See what you can see in a few minutes in a flower pot. But yeah, have some music and some a little more structure to it and stuff. And try to pick a time. This is just random. I just started it just to start something, and I'm pretty sure there's probably be some live streaming coming from NobCon if it hasn't already started. I want to go check some of that out. So I want to thank everybody for joining. Hope it wasn't too boring because it's just me and no music and lots of searching and focusing and such. But that is the microscope way, unfortunately. I'm working on a telescope one as well pretty soon. Putting some stuff together to do live stream telescope stuff, which will take a while longer because I have to get all the equipment together and plan it out. Sorry, I had foot traffic again there. Anyway, so if you have any last minute questions, you can ask me. Otherwise, I'm going to cut it off shortly here. If you guys have any questions or comments or whatever. I didn't find any amoeba this time, but I often do find them, so just didn't get lucky this time. And you never know. I could go out there and get 10 more samples out of the plant and find completely different things. So sometimes you find nothing. Sometimes you find way too much. And most of the time I find weird stuff I've never seen before, which is always cool. So, oh, you're going to miss Ramsey. That's too bad. So anything else? Let me see here. Yeah, I'm not sure what this, Paul, I'm not sure what this critter is. It's definitely, is chloroplast, so that green color in there and stuff. So it's definitely a single cell plant. And it's swimming more like a flagellate than a ciliate, although I don't really see the flagellum very well. Yeah, it's a very interesting little guy, though. I'm gonna have to go through some of these later and try to ID them. Like I was saying before, it's very hard to ID a lot of stuff. Unless you find a guy who's a total expert in this stuff, posting really good videos to help you out. Online literature is pretty weak. Books are even weaker. There are people in the industry, in the sciences who basically publish journal articles on this stuff, and they have ways to key them out and stuff. But it's really hard to key them out with this kind of observation. You have to have more stable scenery and better equipment to do that. But yeah, look at that guy flipping out. It's great. So anyway, thanks again. I will again try to announce this more ahead of time next time, and maybe pick even a better time and have more plan. But looks like it worked out pretty well considering there was no plan at all. So thanks again, everybody, and I will catch you soon and see you at Ramsey tomorrow if you guys are joining that. And thanks for joining. See you later.